Hi, today we're going to talk about dramatic action. The last few videos we've been talking about the three pillars of acting. We've been talking about listening, being present in the moment, spontaneous, responsive to the world around you. An actor has to be present for it all to work. First pillar, listening. Second pillar, imaginary circumstances, really investigating the imaginary circumstances, asking lots of questions, being detailed, putting the world together for yourself in a way that really supports your belief and you can really digest, and it can inform your behavior in an authentic way as opposed to indicating, right? So imaginary circumstances, second pillar. And today we're going to talk about dramatic action. What does it mean to play an action? That is the third pillar. So in order to fully understand this, we have to go all the way back to the Greeks. The art form of drama, dramatic storytelling, is the art form of portraying a story, playing it out. You're not telling a story like in a novel. It's not through words. It's through the actions of the characters. It's through seeing that world play out. So whether it's on stage, in theater, or in film, or in television, or video, or whatever, if we're talking about a story that we're seeing play out with actors in the world, the imaginary world, or a real world that was recreated in an imaginary context, we are talking about drama. And the word drama comes from the ancient Greek to do, to act. It's a verb. It's a verb action practice, right? So drama is a story told through action. Action is the vocabulary. It's the language of drama. It's the building block of drama. And there is nothing that doesn't connect to action. There is no direction that a director could give you. There is nothing that a teacher can give you in regards to acting that you can't in some way connect to action. Action is everything for the actor, because to act, to be an actor, is to act, right? It's a verb. You're up there and you are doing. You're in front of the camera and you're doing. You're on stage, you're doing. You're doing something. So let's dig a little bit deeper into what we mean by action in this regard. So I do not mean, when I talk about what's the action in the scene, or how action is the building block of storytelling, or dramatic storytelling, I don't mean cars exploding, car chases, fights, yelling. I don't mean what we think of when we think of like action movies. That's a different thing altogether. So forget about that. And I don't necessarily mean all of the physical, external things that the actor is doing. There are physical actions that an actor is doing. They might be putting their hand up, putting their hand down. They might be entering. They're saying their lines. They might be modulating their voice and intoning in certain ways, projecting. So there might be things that it seems like the actor is doing externally, that are verbs, that are actions. That's not necessarily what I mean by action, and we'll distinguish that a little bit more in a second. So there's the physical action. But then there's an internal action, an essential action, a psychological action, an action that has an emotional quality to it. So I may say to my scene partner, "Get out of here." And so what's the action? Well, I'm saying the line. Well, okay, you're saying the line, but that's not particularly interesting. It's external. You're saying the line. Great. Okay. So how are you saying the line? Well, I'm modulating my voice to sound intimidating. Get out of here. Well, okay. So you're sort of puppeteering yourself. That's an external way of looking at it. It's not particularly interesting to the actor who wants to really live inside of the world of the character. So what are you essentially doing if we were to attach some emotional quality to that? What's the contest? What's the verb that you're really doing to that other person? Well, maybe you're intimidating the other person. You're intimidating them. So you're looking at them and you're trying to intimidate them. Get out of here. And you're really putting your focus on the contest of, can I intimidate you? Can I get you to feel intimidated and leave? Get out of here. Get out. So that is what we mean by an internal, essential psychological action. What's really essentially going on between the actor, between the character, and the world around them. So here we have this idea of action as the building block for the actor's performance, for dramatic storytelling. How should we approach this? Well, as I just specified, we have these external actions and internal actions. What should be your guidepost? Well, for me, and this, different people may have different points of view of this, but what we're going to be exploring is we're going to be exploring the idea of the actor committing to the action from the character's point of view. From the character's point of view, not necessarily from the actor's point of view. So if we go back to my Get Out example, the actor's point of view is, I want to give a good performance, I want to sound scary, I want the audience to like me, I want to do a good job, I want to look like the character, and I'm going to say the line, I'm going to say it good, I'm going to act hard, I'm going to and so we kind of stand outside as the actor. That's the actor's point of view, and the actor sort of puppeteers themselves to look like they think the character should look, and they'll modulate their voice. Get out of here. Get out of here. And it's sort of cringy. Get out of here right now. You know, it's kind of cringy. It's kind of fake. It's false. It's like, oh, why are you? It's a lie, right? What we're going to be exploring is executing the action, the verb, from the character's point of view. So I don't want to look scary. I don't want to look intimidating. I don't want to modulate my voice. I don't want to impress the audience. I don't want to impress the director. I want to be in the circumstances that I have constructed for myself. I've asked a lot of questions. I want to breathe in those circumstances. I want to look at my scene partner, and I want to really do what the character is doing. As much as I can commit to it, I'm going to put my focus on intimidating you, because I've had it with you for any number of different reasons that I've constructed. I've found all those little things that are going to get me going, and I've rehearsed and worked on it, and so finally I can play that moment, and that takes me to the next element of action. So it's from the character's point of view. It should be doable. It should be something that you can do at the drop of a hat. I can try to intimidate somebody at the drop of a hat. Get out of here. It might be good, it might not be good, but I can at least really try to do it. I can put my focus on trying, and I might do it, I might not. It might be a good choice, it might not be a good choice, but I can put my focus on really trying to do what the character's doing. All right? So it should be from the character's point of view. It should be doable. And finally, there should be a test in the other person or the world around you. There should be some test. I know by looking at my scene partner if I've intimidated them or not. I know, I can tell by their behavior. I can, if I'm listening, first pillar, if I'm listening, if I'm gauging, then I know if I've done it. So I tell them to get out of here. And then I gauge, did I do it or not? If I didn't, then I take that in. And then it goes to the next moment, next action, next intention, next tactic, next way of getting what I need, right? And then I listen and I gauge moment to moment to moment. And so you build a performance through, as Stanislavski said, an unbroken line of actions. One action after the other. And that is your performance. One action executed after another. And the imaginary circumstances will be revealed through that unbroken line of actions. The action is the actor is committing to the reality of doing what the character is doing in the imaginary circumstances. And the imaginary circumstances support the action, and the action supports the belief, and it manifests the behavior. It manifests the behavior that ends up telling the story to the audience. So you're not worried about telling the story to the audience. You're not worried about looking mean or looking like a nice guy, or you're not worried about how you're coming off. You're not worried about the performance of it. You're worried about one action after another within these imaginary circumstances, really listening, engaging, whether you got it, moment to moment to moment, okay? So these three pillars: action, the reality of doing; circumstances, really listening. This is everything. It takes a lifetime of work to explore the complexities of how these three things interact, but these should be your beacon. They should be your guiding light. If a director gives you a note, if you come up against some challenge that you can't solve the problem, always come back to these three things. The scene doesn't feel like it's working. Well, are you listening? Are you putting your focus on really being there in the moment with your scene partner, the world around you? Are you really letting yourself be there? Maybe that's not it. Okay, well, have you really fully explored the circumstances? Where are you coming from? Where are you going? What makes this difficult? What's the conflict? What more questions can I ask and explore? Maybe you feel like, no, I got that. I feel like I have a good sense of the circumstances. And so then, action. Are you really focusing on the Are you really focusing on the action? Are you focusing on what you're trying to get, engaging whether you got it or not? All right, so last week we did an exercise with a lemon and a worm, an imaginary lemon and an imaginary worm. And we also explored heat and cold in talking about circumstances. And I think you'll notice that even last week, I was bringing it back to action. So we're just going to do a quick review of that. So if you hold a lemon, so imagine you're holding a lemon, and you can't just believe in a lemon. You can't just like will yourself to believe that you're holding a lemon. You have to say, well, if I were holding a lemon, I would hold it like this, and I would investigate it, and I would smell it. And if I were to smell it, I would smell citrusy, lemony. And if I were to cut into it, then I would cut it like this, and I would engage those muscles. And I'm really, from my character, from the internal point of view, I'm really executing these physical actions, but I'm not putting my focus on showing or miming to the audience that I'm doing this. I am putting my focus on what I would do in order to cut into a lemon. What do I need to do truthfully, moment to moment to moment? What do I need to do? What would it smell like? How would I deal with that? If I were to suck the juice out of the lemon, where would I feel that? How would I swallow? how would it affect me? And then if I were holding a worm and I were to investigate this worm, what would I do? So it's the actions that start to build. And the more specific you are with the actions, and the more the actions and the circumstances interplay, the more your belief starts to be generated. And then you put it in your mouth, and then you chew it. Ugh, right? And heat, if it's really, really hot, what do you do about that heat? How do you deal with the heat? This is action. What are you doing to deal with the heat? What are you doing if it's cold? What are you doing to deal with the cold, to warm yourself? Right? These are all actions. They're ways of dealing with the circumstances, because circumstances are manifested through action. Okay? And so as you work on monologues and scenes, you should be trying to find that electricity that comes from really doing something. You know, watch athletes playing sports. There's an electricity that comes from them tracking where the ball's going and what they're going to do. There's an electricity that comes from really listening and being engaged in the contest, the game, right? Trying to win. And that's what you're doing as the actor. You are trying to win every moment, moment to moment to moment. It's like a little game, beat by beat, moment by moment. So if we take a piece of text, and I haven't worked on this text seriously since drama school, so I bring it out in class every once in a while to like kind of demonstrate, because it's a piece of text that I worked on a long, long time ago, and I've been working on just in class as a teacher, just as a demonstration for a while. So this goes all the way back to drama school. But it's a really good text to use because it's really direct. It got a really direct action. Okay, so if you can, as you're watching this, go on Google or just do a quick search for "Wherefore Rejoice" from Julius Caesar, and there's a speech, "Wherefore Rejoice," and it's really clear, really active, and look over that monologue. And it's a character who notices, it's at the very, very beginning of Julius Caesar, he notices that the townspeople are there to celebrate the new ruler, Caesar. But they were celebrating the last guy, Pompey, not too long ago. And so if we explore the circumstances a little bit, who is this guy, Marullus? Where is he? What's he doing? What's his point of view? He sees all these people who are celebrating, and they're ridiculous. Because I like the last guy, and I don't like this new guy. I don't like what's happening, and I don't like how ridiculous and stupid these people are. So there's the circumstances, and I can start to digest those circumstances and recognize what that means to me, what I see in my life that gets me angry, and it comes in alignment with that. And these sheep who are supporting whoever, and so I can start to put my focus on that. And the first line is "Wherefore rejoice," and wherefore means why. Why are you celebrating? Why are you celebrating? So I can put my focus on that. I can put my focus on all of them, and I can really play the action of what? It should be something I can do. It should have some sort of a test. Well, I'm going to put my focus on them, and I'm going to demand a response. I want them to answer for themselves. Wherefore rejoice. And they don't give it to me. And so I'm putting my focus on expecting a response. Wherefore rejoice. And I don't get it. And I can do that action over and over and over again, and I can really put my focus on trying to get it. Wherefore rejoice. Wherefore rejoice. And try that. Try that a few times. Just really put your focus on demanding a response, as if you could get it. Wherefore rejoice. What conquest brings he home? Again, nothing. Nothing. Wherefore rejoice. What conquest brings he home? What tributaries follow him to Rome to grace in captive bonds his chariot wheels? Still, nothing. 3 questions in a row and nothing. Put your focus on getting it. And then the beat changes. The action changes. Now I want to mock them, shame them. I want to humiliate them. And I'm going to know by their behavior if I've mocked, shamed, and humiliated them. You blocks. Now, there's no one, my scene partner is not there right now because I'm doing this as a monologue. If we were doing the play, I could gauge my scene partners. I could gauge whether I'm getting it or not. You blocks. You stones. I can put my focus on really making those other actors, the other human beings standing there feel small. And I'll know by their behavior if I've actually done it or not, and I can respond to that in the moment. So this is going action by action by action, beat by beat, really being supported by the circumstances, letting that motivate me, and then putting my focus on getting what I want. I'm going to demand some answers here. Wherefore rejoice? What conquest brings he home? What tributaries follow him to Rome to grace in captive bonds his chariot wheels? Nothing. Nothing. Got nothing from these idiots. I'm going to make you feel small. And now, because it's a monologue, I can just tell myself that they're going to try to answer back to me, and I'm going to shut them up. You blocks. You stones, you worse than senseless things. Oh, you hard hearts, right? And so now I'm giving myself an action to shut them up. And I'm giving that to myself as an action. I'm putting my focus on these people who are going to try to respond to me, and I'm shutting them up. You blocks. You stones, you worse than senseless things. Oh, you hard hearts. You cruel men of Rome. All right. So action by action by action. And this isn't necessarily the correct way to do this monologue, but this is a process of working on a piece, not by trying to figure out how it should sound, not trying to puppeteer yourself, but by putting yourself in the world of the character. And that electricity, that spontaneity that happens by trying to win every moment. Am I going to be able to get a response? Wherefore rejoice? Am I going to get it? Am I going to get it? Yeah. Look. And then next moment, moment to moment to moment. So work through that monologue, or the monologue, and also the monologue that you're working for class, and approach it in that way. You've explored the circumstances. Now you're putting yourself moment to moment, action by action, really playing for keeps, trying to get what you want. And any adjustment that you need to make, any adjustment, if the director says, hey, it's got to be a little quieter, we got a mic right there, and this is your close-up, so it just really needs to be quiet. Well, you need to translate that direction into an action, because you can't play an actor being quiet. You can play a character who needs to hold it together. Needs to hold it together because maybe somebody's listening. Maybe Caesar's got some sentries over here, and I can't let it out because I can't let people hear, but wherefore rejoice? What? And so I'm justifying why I need to bring it down a little bit. Or maybe that's not the right choice. Maybe it's just that I don't want to work that hard. You're the idiot. You need to work hard. You need to come to me. I got something to say. You're going to come to me. Wherefore rejoice? What conquest brings he home? What tributaries follow him to Rome? And so now I'm engaged in a contest. Can I get you to come here? Can I get you to listen to me? Because you're an idiot. you're small, you're nothing, right? And so now that's fun to play because I'm in it. I'm in the world of the character. And all the technical matters of being loud, being soft, hitting your light, crossing over here, crossing over there, the iambic pentameter, the text work. Are you going to hit this word or that word, or are you going to, use the alliteration, or are you really going to lean into the rhythm of the piece? All of that stuff is there to support you playing your action. In Shakespeare, case in point, was an actor. He understood how actors work. So the action to the word to the action. He was giving you text to support your playing your actions, right? So everything comes back to action. There's no technique, there's no direction that should take you away from focusing on what the character needs and wants. So I'll finish up today with one last idea. Stella Adler said that the talent is in the choice. The talent is in the choice. A lot of times we think that the quality of the actor is in this indefinable presence or this thing that makes one actor more interesting than another. Well, that can be defeatist because it's magical. You can't just will yourself to be interesting, but you can work on the choices that you're making. What are the choices of action that you're making? What are the actions? What are the games that your character's playing, moment to moment to moment, to win? And ultimately, what's that objective at the end? The character has an overall objective that they're trying to get, playing actions throughout to get that overall objective. They have objectives for scenes, for beats. So what are your choices for how you're trying to get what the character wants? And what are the choices of circumstances that are going to bring you to life, motivate you in just the right way? So that is the last of the conversation of the three pillars: listening, circumstances, action. We will have more next week, but start to put these into practice in your work and see what you discover. And write in the comments below a little reflection of this discussion and how you understand this. Okay? Thank you very much. I'll see you next week.